So in my previous video I talked about why PC is better than a console, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing to love about consoles. So here are 10 reasons why consoles are better than a PC.
10 reasons why consoles are better and 10 reasons why PC is better. It strikes me as odd that there is the exact same amount of reasons why. I can absolutely believe that there are 10 reasons why a PC is better than a console. But I'm going to make a prediction that if you're trying to get 10 reasons why the consoles are better than the PC, you're going to be stretching a bit. Sometimes, in the attempt to be neutral, you end up being a bit dishonest.
So let's get on to it. Consoles are the way to go if you are on a budget. And if you want a game and you're on a budget, consoles are the way to go.
It's only in the early stages of ownership of a console where it is cheaper. It doesn't take terribly long before the cost of a PC is lower than the sustained cost of a console. The reasons for this are everything from cheaper games to free services to the potency of your starting hardware.
Now, you can pick up an Xbox One for just $300, I guess, and a similarly priced range PC will hold up to an Xbox One for some time.
No, for all the time.
But over time, the Xbox One will play games better than a PC because PC hardware demand is very high when time goes out. If you know what I mean.
Well, we have to toss in a couple of caveats there. A console's hardware does not change until the generation's changed, so the hardware's fixed. It always has what it has. Games get better and more difficult to run regardless of what system they're on. And depending on that system, you'll have to make graphical sacrifices in order to keep playing that game reasonably. And I use the term reasonably, well, wherever you want to put what reasonable performance is. Bad Company 2, for instance, was released in March of 2010, and the game ran at a solid 30 FPS in multiplayer, and the graphics were, they were dog shit, but for the consoles, they were pretty decent. And I should know I got to max rank in the game on the 360. It is strange, though, ever since I did make the move to PC, I never went back, and until today, I hadn't really gone to look at what this game was like for years. I mean, this is how bad it was, but I accepted it because, well, my level of expectations were so low because of the consoles. Releasing on the tail end of 2013 was Battlefield 4, which runs at an even lower frame rate, is rife with incredibly awful screen tearing. All in all, this is one of the worst looking games I have ever seen ever. Both of these are on the Xbox 360, and yet this modern game here on the console looks worse and it runs worse. And both were running at 720p. I've linked both of these videos in the description so you could take a look at just how they are when they're actually running. As a big Battlefield fan, these are the games that come to mind instantly, but for those of you who, say, play Call of Duty, well, Black Ops 3 was on the Xbox 360, and
So the next reason is the lifespan of the consoles. Consoles can, a generation of consoles can hold up to around 5 to 7 years, but
what if the generation is longer than that?
Average lifespan of a PC is around 3 to 4 years if you don't upgrade it. And
I don't know where you get this 3 to 4 years number. I would love to have some sort of a source of verification for it, because my computer would easily last the entire generation of a console and then some. It just depends on what your level of acceptable performance is. That's something you could change on the PC. You don't have that option on the console. 3 to 4 years? I think you made that up.
So, consoles have a big lifespan, and for $300, it's pretty good. I mean, if you buy a $1,000 PC, and yeah, it'll hold up for like 10 years, but
I don't know if I'd say 10 years. I would say probably around 8 years. But I suppose it could be 10. It's all really a matter of how you feel about your gaming performance, how you feel about your visuals, what you're willing to sacrifice over time, what kinds of games you actually play. Hell, I have a 6 or 7 year old MacBook, and that thing can play World of Warcraft and Civilization and Team Fortress 2 and games like that. But since we're talking about price and performance, spending up front, even a large sum like $1,000 on a gaming PC, you will make that back up the longer you keep that PC. You mentioned, for instance, a 10-year length of lifespan for a high-end PC. Well, 10 years of Xbox Live or PSN, that's $500.
You know, not everyone can do that, so consoles are the way to go right now, you know, if you're on budget. And then there's the optimization.
Optimization is kind of a loaded word. First off, it's incorrect to assume that games are not optimized on the PC. It's also incorrect to assume that all games on the consoles are optimized. The list of games that run worse on PC is a very, very short list. Was Battlefield 4 or Black Ops 3, were they optimized for the Xbox 360? Well, if they were, then it shows optimization can still result in horrible playing and looking games, and if they weren't optimized, it goes to show that AAA titles aren't necessarily optimized for consoles.
When a game released, if you're on a PC, if you're a PC guy like me, you have to worry about a lot of things.
Most of the problems that I've encountered on the PC are Icarus-style problems, where you fly too close to the sun because performance is so good or you have so many options it's hard to choose sometimes. The ongoing battle in my head, performance, visuals, frame rate. Do I want this gorgeous game at 60 FPS or do I want it to look alright at 120?
First of all, what are the requirements, and if you meet those requirements, how the game will run, and if you don't meet those requirements, will the game run on my PC? Hopefully yes, and you buy it and bam, it runs like crap.
As opposed to the console, where half the games will run like crap regardless? Finding out whether or not your game will be ran on your computer based on your specs is as simple as, well, asking the question online or just having a basic knowledge of what your graphics card and everything will do. It's one of the first things that you'll learn about your PC. The system requirements for Shadow Warrior 2, which released just a couple days ago, say that the minimum graphics card to have is the 560 Ti, which is a card that released in January of 2011. So we're just on the cusp of having that card be 6 years old. The recommended specs are the 970, which I can buy online right now for $210.
But for console gamers, it's nothing to worry about. You know, if a game comes to a console, let's imagine Xbox One, and it'll run pretty good. And
yeah, like Battlefield 4 or Black Ops 3, it runs pretty good. Battlefield 3, for me, was personally the game that kind of got me over the edge to get a PC because performance was so bad, and I was so sick of playing shooters that required some level of precision at sub 30 FPS. Games on the console run like garbage. 30 FPS is unacceptable on the PC, but console players are used to it, so they don't complain about it. With special exceptions, if a game doesn't run at 60 FPS, then I consider it to be running terribly. Halo 3, for instance, ran at 30 FPS. That is running terribly. But if you're used to 30 pathetic frames per second, then it's not a big deal to you.
900p at around 60 FPS, and it's pretty good. And most games run pretty well. I mean, most games run like 30-60 FPS.
30 frames per second is not running good. Not even the PS4 Pro could run the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare trailer reveal thingy at the 2016 PlayStation meeting. Couldn't even run that at 60 FPS. It's an early trailer, sure, but look at how much work has to be done here. People are walking through closed corridors with one person in the picture, and it's in the 40s.
Normally, but take back Batman Arkham Knight for an example. And, you know, with consoles, it runs very good. And
again, it's sad that we live in a world where 30 FPS at the very best is considered very good in terms of how it runs. Was Batman Arkham Knight damaged and broken on its release? It absolutely was. To this day, Warner Brothers, the publishers, and Rocksteady, the developers, have suffered immense damage to their reputation, which is potentially unrepairable. The game was even removed from Steam, and Steam being Steam, that's actually kind of a big deal. At the time, they offered unprecedented levels of refunds for the purchases made there. But then they decided to fix the game, and now it sits at an 80% approval rate in the last 30 days, though it has been higher in the past. Negative reviews on the game mostly focus on franchise fatigue and repetition more than technical issues. In the description, I've provided a link to a video of a YouTuber named, well, Sloppy Wet Blow, and he's playing the game with a 1080, and he's getting anywhere between 68 and 90 FPS on a 1080. On all the highest settings, on a resolution of 3440 by 1440.
PC not very well. It had big problems with it, and finally it got solved, but it's still not running as good as it runs on consoles.
Please don't lie. Somebody might actually believe you, and then they'll be disappointed. Kind of like how I'm disappointed in you now. My last link that I just described will prove you wrong.
And of course, then there's the console exclusive games lines, and you have, for PS4 you have Until Dawn, Last of Us Remastered. For Xbox you have Forza 6, and then you have Halo's franchise, and I mean, like, they are pretty good exclusive for consoles and not as much for PC. And
we know at this point, of course, that the PC has way more exclusives. However, there's an interesting development of late. With practically all future Xbox One exclusives coming to the PC as well as Windows 10 exclusives, and the fact that you can now stream every PS3 exclusive game to your PC, meaning the Uncharted games and The Last of Us are playable on the PC. If you have to buy one system that gives you the largest amount of exclusives, then the PC is the obvious choice.
Most of the games release early for console versions,
like Mountain Blade Warband, or Killing Floor 2, or 7 Days to Die, or Vermintide, Darkest Dungeon, XCOM 2. A lot of games aren't. A lot of games is the other way around. But I have to wait just a little bit to get a superior version, then that's fine with me. I play on the PC. I've got more games than I know what to do with in the meantime.
The developers release their games early for console version. If you take GTA 5 for example, it took 2 years after its initial release for the game to come to PC. And
well, I mean, that last bit isn't true at all. GTA 5 released first on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, so that means it's better, right? Because they get it first. I mean, that means it's better to get an Xbox 360, right? Because it came out before the Xbox One version did. So it's better to get it on the Xbox 360 instead of the Xbox One, because it came out first, right? Right?
Right?
Though I think most people would agree that it would be better to get the PS4 and the Xbox One to play the game, even though it came out later. From the original older console release, the PC version came out a year and a half later. And no, that's not splitting hairs. Don't come to me and tell me that half a year's worth of time is splitting hairs. From the current gen version, about a 5-month difference. And it's not like we, didn't have anything to do in the meantime. As excited as I was for GTA 5, hell, I have more games than I know what to do with. The last thing, and this is actually almost like a problem, it's like there's so many games coming out for PC, like, hold off, I need to beat the ones I have. But when the game did release on PC, and I got it, and it ran like a dream, it looked fantastic, it was objectively better with more options and more things actually in the game that were exclusive to the PC version, I have absolutely no issue with a delay, even of that magnitude, so that I can get a version that's better than the consoles got. I'm going to go to Twitter and make a poll right now, just a second. Alright, go to tweet here. How should I word this? Would you rather wait for a game to release on PC for a superior version, or have it, how should I word this, release with console parity, on the same day? That seems like that seems reasonable.
around 2 months after the Xbox One and PS4 released to come to PC. So like it takes a long time for games to come to PC. And
Well, yeah, I'm sure it can, but it's definitely not the rule. And again, there are a lot of games that start out on the PC and move to console, and we'll probably see this trend continue as games in early access expand.
that's okay, because there are lots of things to do if you're releasing a game for PC, and it takes time. But so it's another advantage that consoles have, early release games. And console is the way to go if you're trying to play with friends. You just invite your friends to your home and you just hang out. And
Oh, you mean like inviting them over? Well, I would be willing to say that this was an advantage for consoles last generation, but unfortunately for consoles, the glorious golden age of split-screen, couch cooperative multiplayer, well, it's kind of going bye-bye. If you go to cooptimist.com, a website that's based around multiplayer, cooperative specifically, you can search for games and see how many games on a platform support co-op, be it a split screen or online, all that stuff. Well, the current gen systems have less split screen games than the PC does. Don't believe me? Well, go there and look it up yourself. Look under split screen games. The PC has 58, the PlayStation 4 has 35, and the Xbox is 26.
take your console controls and just get into the couch and play. But
Really is a shame considering my favorite split screen series of all time, Halo, is no longer split screen. Gee, thanks 343.
you can do it with PC, but just one mouse and just one keyboard by two people. I don't think it's pretty weird.
Yeah, but that's how it works when you're doing it on PC. That's how it works on PC. You both get one clicker button on the mouse. You have to share which way it points, though. It can be a little frustrating.
Of course, console is portable. I mean, like you can just put it in your bag and go to your friend's house, connect it to your TV, connect it to their TV, and you can play. And I mean, like it's pretty portable. With PC, not so much. You have to take the UPS. You have to take the
Wait, we have to take the UPS.
whole PC and put it in the deck of your car and anything. And PC is not that portable, but consoles are, and you can just plug your console pretty much everywhere. But with PC, it's not that practical. So
Well, that depends on what kind of PC you get. Remember, you can use gaming laptops on TVs if you hook them up. The Alienware Alphas, because for some reason they're just the first example that pops into my head, offer the form factor of consoles and allow for it to use, of course, controllers, and all PC games can be hooked up to TVs, monitors, give you all the benefits of the console in regards to portability and size, while also allowing you to do things the console could never do, like playing The Witcher 3 at 60 frames per second. There's more than the Alienware Alpha, though, that offers this form factor for PCs. Again, that's just one example. But if you're going to build a PC, and portability is your primary concern, then you have options at your hands. The hardware of PCs is customizable. You could tune it to what you prefer and what you need and what you want.
that's another advantage consoles have. And I guess that's it for this video. Those are the reasons what consoles do better than PC.
Yeah, those reasons kind of sucked. You were stretching a bit.
Consoles are pretty good. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, but
I am.
if you have money and if you have lots of money, PC is the way to go. But if you're like me, then go for a console. I hate PCs right now because lots of games are running like crap on my PC right now, and it's 10 years old.
Wait, you're complaining on how games perform on your PC, and your PC is 10 years old? I mean, yeah, they'll last a long time, but a decade is a stretch. If you bought a GPU that was the price of one of these consoles, then you would definitely last the rest of the generation without any problem. That's not a PC issue, that's a you having a 10-year-old PC issue. When you make videos like this, it's important to do your research. It's important to get your stuff right. There's nothing wrong with going to Google and typing in something, finding out what's really up, but when you say things like, the Grand Theft Auto 5 version came out 2 years after the initial release, I mean, you're half a year off, and that's a big deal. This video is another example of what happens when you attempt to be neutral and it turns you disingenuous. You have to stretch for reasons. One is better than the other. They are not equals. There are not X reasons why this is better and X reasons why the other is better. Tell things as they are. There's practically no reason to buy a console now. That ship has sailed. It's practically the golden age of PC gaming. Dark times are far behind us. In any event, that one's done. Feel free to follow me on Twitter if you want more updates throughout the week on what my thoughts are and links to articles that might help you in your fight against misinformation. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do a pretty casual, laid-back podcast on Brimstone Gaming Channel. So those are some ways to reach me, contact me, listen to my stuff between these videos. In any event, that wraps things up. So I'm out.